The crypto bull run is over. No, I'm just joking with you guys. Obviously, yes, we are going to have an alt season. We didn't really get there yet. I've been talking about it for a while. And as we really look at alt season, we need to handpick out some of the big winners that are very well, kind of blazing their path to massive success. And I do believe that Hedera should be in that category. I think that as we really look at Hbar and as we look at what Hedera has accomplished in a very short amount of time, it's something that we definitely need to take into accountability. Now, with that being said, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. I have been talking about Hbar for well over now 3 years, and I feel as though, and this is not me saying like, hey, I'm better than you. No, I feel as though at this point in time, I think that I have a lot more information and knowledge of where Hedera and Hbar were back in 2021 and everything that has happened in the last 3 years. And I just feel as though like all that information, all that knowledge of what I do know, I think that I can come to the conclusion that I'm very certain that Hedera and Hbar are going to be very big winners this season. And it's not just because of what they have done and what they've accomplished, but it's because of how fast Hedera has expanded to become almost a blue chip in a sense without the price action, which I know is the only thing that really kind of matters to a lot of you out there. And trust me when I say that price action lags behind all of the big major moves happening. The alt season time bomb is ticking, and now is the best time to go and get your free access to 30 secret crypto gems that I personally have researched completely for you so that you can save a ton of time and make a ton of money. The link down in the description below takes you guys to this page where you can claim your free access instantly right now, free of charge. It's completely free. So what are you doing? What are you waiting for? Go and click the link down in the description below as well as in the comments below to get access now. Now, as we think about that and as we look at Hedera, what is really going to set ablaze a path for Hedera to become a top 10 project or let alone a blue chip in the space? Well, I think that it all comes back down to one thing, which is DeFi. Although DeFi might seem like it's a big nothing in the space, it's one of the biggest categories within the space where users are actually tied to a platform or a network. They're locking their tokens up to earn a percentage on it or even, participate within liquidity pools. And that in itself locks up supply, makes the supply even more scarce than it is, and also provides value to be created within the ecosystem. This is why as we really look at the DeFi space at over 175, almost $176 billion worth, and as we look at some of the largest chains within the DeFi space as well, the number one chain is Ethereum. Go look at where Ethereum is on the CMC chart. Oh yeah, that's right. It's the number 2 largest crypto project because it is dominating at almost 69% of the supply or of the value, in the TVL space at almost $122 billion. Now, if we think about that, look at the 24-hour fees, look at the 24-hour volume, and look at the amount of stablecoins within it. Ethereum is a giant. It's something that we definitely need to take accountability for because, as we look at DeFi, it has been the number one biggest thing to grow this space. And I don't think that I even need to tell you guys that. If we go over here to the total DeFi chart, from the highs of 2017 and 2018, DeFi has grown well over 27x. And just to put that into perspective, it went from almost $7 billion to $200 billion back in 2021. Right now, this is sitting at about 91.6 billion almost. It hit $125 billion this season. Now, again, just to give you guys a quick insight, this is just the DeFi market cap going off of data within the DeFi coins. It's not taking into accountability everything. That's why when we go back over here to the DeFi Llama website, this is still sitting at about $177 billion. But again, this is DeFi tokens themselves, which still is showing us that this is going to set ablaze a path going back to its all-time highs from 2021, which is $200 billion. But would it be ridiculous to say that this could very well go to almost $1 trillion? Because, again, going off of the all-time highs of 2017, 2018, it did a 27x or 2,700% move to the upside of the 2021 highs. If we're talking about just going up 400% to $1 trillion, I think that this is possible. And if we think about that, that's DeFi tokens themselves in terms of market cap. Imagine where DeFi TVL will actually be. Because we know back in 2021, it was sitting at $260 billion, while the DeFi tokens themselves hit about $200 billion. If we hit $1 trillion in terms of DeFi total market cap for DeFi coins, TVL in DeFi will probably be well over $1 trillion. So we have a lot of growth here. Now, as we do look at that, right, let's go back to the chains. Where is Hedera in the chains list? Well, it's down here sitting at number 47. If we go over here to Hedera, it's sitting at about $100 million, almost $109 million in TVL. We know that recently back in March, it hit almost $200 million in TVL, which was pretty substantial for Hedera. But I do think that this is just a beginning point for Hedera, because we know that some of these projects within like the top 20 or even the top 15 that have almost $1 billion in TVL, Hedera is, you know, something that could very well blow up and hit some of these TVL valuations, especially considering how efficient DeFi on Hedera is. And I don't think that I need to tell you guys that if you've been utilizing, like, for an example, Saucer Swap, because Saucer Swap is absolutely game changing for a DEX, considering even Uniswap. If you've utilized Uniswap in the past, you know how inefficient it is. You know how big of a headache it is as well. And that's why when we look at Hedera, DeFi is next level on Hedera. But even if we go over here to DeFi on Hedera, we have the next generation of finance. Hedera offers low fixed fees, blazing fast transaction speeds or transactions, immediate settlement, and modern development workflows. It's never been easier to build the next generation of financial software on the open source public Hedera network. And down here we have EVM-based smart contracts, 15 million gas per second, and then modern development. Down here we have the TVL, or the total value locked. Again, this is not taking into accountability other things like, for an example, if we go back over here, it's not taking into accountability liquid staking, because even on here, you could go to columns, or I believe it was, maybe it wasn't columns. I know before it had like an option to turn off like liquid staking, or actually here we have up here, include in TVL, we have staking, for an example. If we turned off staking, this is what the actual TVL would be. It seems as though it's not actually showing that. It might be the poll 2. Again, it's not actually updating it, which I don't know why. But, you know, before you could actually turn that off, or actually it was this one, liquid staking. Here we have it. So if we turn off liquid staking, it's sitting at 72 million. DeFi on Hedera on their actual website doesn't include liquid staking, which is just Stater Labs. So that's where the 72.5 million versus like the 108 million has, you know, a big difference point. But regardless of that, 9,549 active smart contracts deployed on Hedera, 52,604 smart contract transactions in the last 24 hours as well. And these are all the players around the DeFi space that are built out on Hedera. You can also see that over here as well. This is all the DeFi projects. There's 2 pages of them, and you can see that through here. Now, beyond that, as we really look at DeFi, I know that we need to be mentioning the Hbar Foundation, because although, yes, there's a lot of issues around funding and stuff like that, they are still injecting 100 million Hbar into the Hedera Network's DeFi ecosystem, which I think is going to be great for growth. It's also going to provide a lot of projects with, you know, much needed funding. I wish that this was a lot more. Honestly, I think that it would have been great to, you know, provide 1 billion Hbar if we could have been able to do so, because imagine what 1 billion Hbar would have done for the DeFi ecosystem. But hey, 100 million Hbar is a good start, and it definitely does help to scale the overall ecosystem around DeFi. Then, of course, over here we have for existing retail participants, DeFi 2.0 on Hedera means more liquidity, new HTS economies, and greater interoperability, enabling new capital flows to enter into the ecosystem. To kickstart this progression, liquidity mechanisms such as Ichi Foundation are helping boost liquidity to decentralized exchanges as new projects throughout the ecosystem come to market with their tokens. Here, retail participants can partake in single-sided staking, meaning that they can provide 1/2 of the token pair and receive yield for doing so, rather than providing 2 tokens in equal balance. For interoperability, the recent community-wide collaboration around Wallet Connect has further enhanced the wallet UX across Hedera, establishing a standard for all wallets and reducing barriers or silos to new market participants that existed before the standard was implemented. Furthering interoperability, we also look forward to welcoming the new non-native interoperability solutions over the year alongside Hedera's existing native bridging solution like Hashport Network. As new DeFi protocols on Hedera come onto the market, particularly around lending and borrowing, this interoperability and focus on deeper liquidity and a greater UX will enable new opportunities for outside capital to benefit from the efficiencies of the Hedera ecosystem, which, yes, I think that the DeFi 2.0 move is massive, and it also builds upon even asset managers and tokenization. For example, here we've already been seeing leading asset managers like Aberdeen, the UK's largest active manager, begin the tokenization of its assets on Hedera. Through Archix, the UK's FCA-regulated digital asset exchange, Aberdeen created a tokenized representation of its interest in the Aberdeen Standard Liquidity Fund, Sterling Fund, Aberdeen's flagship multi-billion-pound money market fund. By tokenizing on Hedera, Aberdeen became the first major UK asset manager to issue a tokenized security. As the UK Treasury continues exploring fund tokenization, we look forward to them pushing or publishing a framework for tokenized funds and welcoming Web3 adoption throughout the nation. Now, beyond this, right, we also have Bonzo Finance Labs, because if we go back over here to the retail section, we scroll down, we could actually see that as new DeFi protocols on Hedera come onto the market, particularly around lending and borrowing, this interoperability and focus on deeper liquidity and a greater UX will enable new opportunities for outside capital to benefit from the efficiencies of the Hedera ecosystem. Well, Bonzo Finance is a big lending and borrowing platform for Hedera DeFi 2.0, and it's set to make an outsized and revolutionary impact. But what does that mean? Why is this functionality critical for the ecosystem? How does this landscape look across the rest of Web3? Let's dive into answering these questions. Here we have that the lending and borrowing DeFi category makes up 44% of all TVL in Web3, nearly 1.5 times of DEXs. And if we actually think about that, right, we already have a DEX on chain with SaucerSwap, which has been the #1 growing TVL platform on Hedera. It's actually what provided us to get to 72 million and also this massive $156 million level. But if we actually go back over here to the categories, we could see that liquid staking is the #1, followed by lending. And I do think that borrowing is actually kind of just mixed within lending. If I'm being honest, I don't see borrowing on here. So I'm just going to say that lending and borrowing is in the same thing. And if we think about that, right, Hedera already has liquid staking, which is the #1. They also have now with Bonzo Finance lending, which is #2. And then #4 is DEXs. Now, yes, we already have bridges as well on Hedera, but I don't think that they are even mentioned here in terms of any of these names. But I do think that a possible, at some point in time, major DeFi bridge will be a big deal. But having DEXs and lending and also liquid staking is literally 3 of the top 5 categories within TVL, which is crazy to me. So I do think that we need to focus on Bonzo Finance. Now, this is still in testnet. I will talk about that here in a second. But we do see that we think that this will hold true on Hedera while at the same time contributing to the DeFi ecosystem through unlocking liquidity via project treasuries and large holders, increasing stablecoin liquidity and utilization, offering new and complex DeFi transaction types, increasing DEX trading volume and TVL as well. And they fully break this down in terms of like unlocking new liquidity. And also down here, we have the breakdown of like new DeFi transaction types as well. And when we really look at this, we could just take a quick look. So these projects have a vested interest in management of funds. Again, this is more so token-based projects have a large uncirculating token treasuries and manage separate business operation treasuries, typically Hbar and USDC, for example. So management of funds, yield and risk management, ensuring liquidity for the project's native token, contractual restrictions on large sales of tokens by employees, investors, etc. Lending protocols offer project treasuries and large token holders a relatively safe place to unlock liquidity of their business or their native asset and support effective management of business treasuries. This is due to decentralized lending protocols offering single asset yield bearing pools, greater liquidity of a project's token for borrowing by retail and institutions, large holders, a way to diversify exposure without selling on spot markets. And of course, stablecoins. I don't think that I need to even mention stablecoins because you guys already know about it. But lending protocols drive stablecoin liquidity and utilization as well. Down here, we have new DeFi transaction types. So this is collateralized loans, leveraged trading, leveraged yield, and even flash loans. Again, just providing even more growth for SaucerSwap and for even TVL on Hedera. And of course, the impact on DEX TVL and volume. So we have liquidations when loans become uncollateralized. Collateral is automatically sold on DEXs to repay debt. Swaps, borrowers often swap borrowed funds into other assets, driving trading volume. And of course, TVL will grow through all of this as well because borrowers often supply borrowed funds into DEXs as part of their individual yield earning strategy. So all of this is going to provide a lot more growth for Hedera's decentralized finance TVL and also transactional demand as well. This is going to bring in so much more capital, so many more users. It's going to ultimately light a fire under the DeFi ecosystem for Hedera and really set it ablaze. And also, if we go over here to Bonzo's website, although, yes, this is still in testnet, we could check out the overall UI. This is such a clean UI, and it's something that I always focus on whenever I look at some of these projects. Again, just puts it into perspective on how next level all of these players on Hedera, these builders, these projects really are, and how, ahead of the game they really are as well. Like I said, DeFi on Hedera is a big focus for me. I think that it's going to provide a lot of value, a lot of volume, and ultimately bring in a ton of more users to Hedera and really kind of push it up the ranks in terms of the CMC list. So I do think that Hedera already has been paving its way towards the top 10 for a very long time. DeFi will only accelerate it even more and possibly push it there even faster. So I'm definitely focused on this. I'm definitely, committed to watching Bonzo Finance, launch. I'm waiting for it to come to the mainnet. And I do think that once this does happen, it's going to be a big success. What do you guys think down in the comments below, though? I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you guys did enjoy this video, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on to get more free content. You guys are more than follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.